I was raised very simply. We had, everything that we needed and a little of what we wanted. And my parents we led a simple life. It wasn't overly complicated. And, we didn't have a lot of money. We had everything, again, we needed and love. And I remember just the easy things, having animals. We had goats when I was growing up. We raised goats as pets. And, then I would occasionally find, a squirrel or a rabbit or a kitten, and we just took care of animals. And it was a very simple, just great growing up experience. Yes, we had hardships and we saw hard things and we saw how people lived that were rich. But I really do love that I was able to experience that simple life, and that came from my parents. On my dad's side, his dad owned a cotton farm, and so my dad actually had to quit school in ninth grade to help out on the cotton farm. All the kids did. This was during the late 50s, early 60s. And then my mom also lived a very simple life. She just remembered being outside all the time. She was always with horses and playing out in the dirt. She talks about that a lot. So again, it just kind of is here. But over time, my life got less simple. So probably around the year, when was it, 2009 to probably, 2016, just fast-paced, hectic, social media's out there, keeping up. It got really stressful. And so I started to turn that curve again when I had my daughter, and I wanted to give her that nice experience of living a more simplified life. People also describe simplicity as minimalism, or leading a more minimal life. Like minimalism is a new thing, a new idea. But it really isn't. If you really think about your parents or your grandparents, or heck, maybe some of your great-grandparents, they lived a very simple and minimal life. They pretty much, during, the Great Depression eras and the World Wars, had very little, if even enough, of what they needed. If they had what they needed, they were seen as lucky. But for some reason, we now think minimalism is a new term. It's just not. Simple living and minimalism is something we can look back on those older generations and pull back into our lives, the good aspects of it, learn from what they learned from, and implement it that way. We are going so fast and doing such shallow work. We are living in the jail called our cell phones. And I think that is making us dumber. At least we're not learning as much. We are just sitting here like this. You can't learn anything. You can know what Sally and John are doing on the weekend, or Sarah Sue over here is, having a new baby, and then you've got Timothy is graduating from college. Okay, what are you learning? But you're spending an hour scrolling just to learn those things. What I really wanted to focus on was finding things that make me happy, and the things that, put that unconscious smile on your face, the things that actually light you up inside. And honestly, I think that's what your passion is. A lot of people try to figure out what their passion is, or what they were meant to be or meant to do, or what they should be doing in life. What passion is ultimately is what lights you up. What is it that when you're doing it, you get just this burst of, you're smiling and you don't even know it. Or you can do it, you can get so immersed in it that you don't even know what is going on around you. That time passes and you realize you weren't even checking your phone. You weren't wondering what time it was. And 2 hours have passed, and whatever it is that you were doing had you so focused in on it that you were able to work so deep in it and didn't even notice. That is your passion. Sorry, squirrel moment. The air just turned on and the scent from this candle just came this way. It smells so good. I digress. I think embracing simple living, you learn that marketing and the media and all that is pushing you to buy, or to be scared and need this, or to be feel less than and need this. They're pushing that. And I think if you can realize that, you can live a more simple life. You won't always want the newest, latest, greatest thing because you realize that you really don't need it and you truly down deep don't want it. So here are some actual concrete ways that I have simplified my life. The first one is apps on my phone. I do not have unnecessary apps on my phone. So if I have gone through my phone and I go through my phone like I do my closet. So I go through it regularly. And if I see that there's an app in there that I have not used, then I will delete it. And if I, on the opposite spectrum of that, if I see that there's an app in there that I can't control myself with, like the brief moment that I downloaded TikTok, and because I'd already known this kind of way of thinking, I realized how quickly, gosh, if you experience this and you've been on TikTok and you've gotten lost in it, let me know down below. That one, that definitely has that instant gratification. It's just, it sucks you in. Anyway, I realized how quickly I was in there and going and listening or watching it. So I said, no, none of this. And I deleted it immediately. So I do not keep unnecessary apps or apps that will keep me from doing something more valuable, I guess, with my time. I also do not watch the news. It makes me anxious and frankly pisses me off. So I choose not to watch it because whenever my husband will randomly turn on, like even the local news these days, I don't know. I start stuff just starts coming out of my mouth. I can't control it. You never just know what's going to come out of my mouth. I just have to comment back. So I have realized what it does to me and I'd rather not. So no watching the news for me. I also don't sleep with my phone. A lot of people do. Do you know anybody who actually sleeps with that thing in the bed? That would be uncomfortable. But I used to sleep with it by my bedside table. And I'm pointing over here because that's where my bedside table is, just in case you're wondering. But I used to have my phone there like anybody, right? So, I mean, the bad part about it is you were on your phone in, the middle of the night. I remember before I even had my daughter, randomly I needed to check Facebook and see what was going on in the middle of the night because it's possible by 1 a.m. that something interesting happened and I needed to know it before I woke up at 6, right? No. And then in the morning, you would end up hitting the snooze button, or you would go ahead and check your work email, and then that one person, the one person would end up saying something to you that really irritated you, and then you were getting in the shower, and then you were stewing about it, and then you were driving in traffic, and then the traffic was too much, and then there was a wreck, and then you were really backed up, you ended up late for work, and your day was crappy because you were sitting in the bed reading emails before the sun even came up. Obviously, that's happened to me if I can go on that much of a rant about it, right? But anyway, my phone, I put it to sleep in the bathroom. I plug it up and put it in there. It also keeps me from hitting the snooze button, which is such a waste. I will link that video down below where I talk about not hitting the snooze button and 5 total bad habits that you can change. So, not sleeping with my phone very much has simplified my life and actually brought back several hours, or at least 2 hours, of time, so I'm not sitting there just mindlessly scrolling because I'm not really ready to get out of bed yet. Another thing I do is I listen to my body. I understand that I cannot do my best if my body does not feel its best. So if I'm stressed or just not feeling myself, then I stretch. I do yoga. And that really makes a difference for me. I can feel if I've gone too long without doing it. It's kind of like a car. I mean, this is my vehicle, right? I'm here on earth. My soul is here in this vehicle, and I have this vehicle, leased for a certain amount of time. And unless you change the oil in your car, or it's not going to run as well. If you get a flat tire, you can't go where you need to go. You can't get where you're supposed to go. So taking care of me and listening to myself has helped keep my health okay, and just make me feel better overall so that I can do the things that make me happier. I also don't watch TV much at all. I used to be the person that watched at least 3 hours of TV a day, even on a work day. Now, this was before I had a child, but I watched all of the news, the e-news, what are the other ones? Gosh, Entertainment Tonight. I knew everything about every celebrity that was going on. Now I do not watch TV. If I do anything, I will have Netflix or maybe Amazon Prime on in the background on my phone while I'm doing laundry or while I'm cooking, and it's typically a series that I've already watched 10 to 12 times, and I could probably recite the entire 6 seasons to you. It's very rare that I will watch a new anything because I feel like there's something else I could be doing, and I just don't want to waste the time to sit there and have to be I guess immersed into it to understand it. Now if a new season in one of the shows that I do like comes up, then I will take some time to watch it. It's enjoyable, it's pleasurable, but otherwise I just don't watch TV. I learn about marketing strategies. Knowledge is power, and I want to beat the system. So understanding and knowledge is one of the things that has really helped me kind of just simplify. And it sounds weird. How does that simplify your life? It makes you realize what is and isn't important. You're learning. You're learning tactics, and you're just able to relax more because things don't make you as anxious or stressed out as maybe the purpose of them would. One of the biggest things is I don't think of simplicity or minimalism as a restriction or like a diet. It's not a restriction. To me, it's an opportunity. So some people might think frugal and simplicity and etc. is a bad word or boring. To me, it's not. If I simplify my time and I am frugal and I am minimal, then I actually open myself up for the opportunity to do something the spare of the moment, not the spare of the moment, the spur of the moment, spare of the moment, what? On the spur of the moment, I've got the funds to do so, I've got the time available because I haven't allocated it to too much other stuff. So it's more of an opportunity than it is not, as far as simplifying your life. On that same token, we have a very predictable schedule. We pretty much do the same thing. Now that's not boring to say, but we don't always have something booked. If you want to reach out to us and say, hey, what are you doing? You want to meet up this weekend? We can pretty much say yes. Unless one of us is working, we have the time available, and we do that for a reason. We don't want to constrict ourselves. We like to be open and available and have that predictability. But we also sprinkle in things here or there, but we don't say yes to a lot of obligations. Another way, and this is a big way we save money, is just by eating basic meals with simple ingredients. It may seem small, but it actually is so much easier because not only are you saving your mind, saving your money, but you're also saving time. When you make some of these things that you may find on Pinterest, and I always say make a new meal or two a month just to kind of diversify. But with people who want to do all these new meals during a week, you're not going to want to do that. You're going to end up buying all the new, one-off ingredients to go with it. And you may make one or two, and then maybe you do or do not like it. Or maybe it just doesn't turn out because, I've had plenty of recipes that just don't turn out. But it also takes a lot of time to make something that you're not familiar with. If you cook a lot like I do, and there's recipes you're familiar with, it takes a lot less time than if you have a recipe binder or a new recipe and you have to make sure you hit this, and this, because if you don't, it'll end up tasting gross anyway. So, having simple meals has more value than just monetarily. Another thing that I do is I let my mind wander. I will often actually just be sitting and not have any distractions, and there will be a lot going on in here. And I think that is the opportunity you have to solve problems and to actually open doors. When you let your mind, because I think we only use a certain percentage of our mind, there's so much more back there. So if you let things just kind of rattle around, shake it up a bit, and let a few things talk, it's amazing the amount of ideas that could come out of that. This is just something I do instead of filling my time with social media and scrolling through. And again, I've quit social media. The only thing I have is YouTube. But if you're standing in line somewhere, people automatically think that they need to pull out their phone because they need stimulation. You're going to be more beneficial. And at this time, doing it is going to be, not pulling out your phone is going to cause anxiety or work. It's going to feel like work because your brain wants that stimulation just like it would want that chocolate cake. I really want some chocolate cake right now. Anyway, but it wants that stimulation. But try when you're in line, just let your mind wander and see what pops up. I mean, in February, I had this idea and it just randomly popped up and it fit. It fit in my world, and it is what I've created my small business on, which I am going to tell you guys so soon. I'm just trying to... Anyway, I'm so excited. It's just something I'm doing, and it's fun. It's fun. It's so enjoyable, and it's something I'll tell you guys soon. I'm not going to tease you and wait until everything's ready. I'm actually going to talk to you guys about the process of it, because I've never done anything like this, but this idea came to me in February and I was so excited, and I've been working on it, and it's become a passion thing for me. And I it's just me doing it. And anyway, I'll move on from there. Now, one thing that you need to do in order to live, or just kind of simplify things, is stop multitasking. This is a big problem for me. Is this a big problem for anybody else? I am very much still working on this. I'm by no means perfect. And a lot of the stuff that I talk to you guys about, I've gone through. And I'm by no means perfect. And I want to share that with you. But multitasking, I'm bad. It's bad. I am working on it heavily. I'm reading this book right now called Deep Work by Cal Newport. And I'm getting to the end of it. I'm going to read it again because it's one of those books that you need to read through and then read through again, because there's just so much in it. Hopefully the library lets me renew it. I think you can only renew 2 times from our library. Maybe I'll have to take it back, check it out again. I don't know. But I need to read it again. It talks about how people are working and only giving a tiny percentage. You can't do good work, basically, if you're multitasking. Honestly, you can't do multiple things well if you're doing multiple things at a time. I mean, I think we know that, but again, we've trained our brains to need this stimulation all the time, and we automatically think we want to do something that makes us happy rather than doing something that may stress us or may cause our brain to work more. So multitasking is definitely one that I know will help enhance living more simply and more relaxed and doing better at the things that I am doing. So I'm greatly trying to work on that. I also think that slow living and simple living is a journey. Life changes. Things in your priorities in your life are going to change. Everything changes. And I think that with slow living also, when you start making these little changes and looking more into it, it's almost like muscle memory. It will become easier, and obviously the habits will become unconscious. But to me, slow living it's evolving. It's different for everybody, just like everything is. So like I always say in my videos, take what you want and leave the rest. Not everything I say is going to work for you, and not everything you might say is going to work for me. We're all different. Hey, whatever. If I can help out a few people, great. But it's a journey, it's a process, and so that's why I decided to do this video, just to tell you a little bit about what I think simple living is. I think there's a huge shift back to it, that's happening. I've seen that just in my channel, and seeing how probably the end of last year, my channel kind of just went poof, way up, because I think people are tired. They're tired, literally, physically, mentally, everything. They're tired. So tell me what you think slow living is, or simple living. What are some things that you do that help have a simple life or a slow living life, I would love to hear them down in the comments. I learned so much from you, and I know there are a lot of people on my channel that actually like to read the comments, because, you know, the people that watch my subscribers are just amazing, smart, great people. I'm super lucky that way. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you back for more videos.